first time in 16 months, we welcome you to Bridgewater-Raynham Regional High School for football as the BR Trojans take on the Durfee Hilltoppers. I am John Luck with Brian Berard, and it's been a while since we've done a football game here at the Regional, Brian. But coming into the season, there's a lot of storylines for a 5-game regular season.
Yeah, absolutely, John. As you mentioned, 16 months since pretty much anything has been quasi-normal. And we're not fully back to normal yet here today, but it's still good to have some football played here at the Regional. And what perfect weather that we have on the first day of spring to go along. But yeah, John, as you said, for the storylines, a very abbreviated spring season. And I kind of like this. If the weather keeps staying like this, John, I think we should move football to the spring.
I mean, it's really going to pay off when we get near Easter and the week after. I mean, we're in Brockton, and temperature's probably going to be in the 60s. But for the BR Trojans, I think the biggest storyline is the head coach, Dan Biron, coaching in his final season here at the Regional.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll play some clips from it later on today, but I had the chance to speak with Coach Biron before the season started, and I asked him about that. It's your final season. What goals do you have? And he said, I just want to enjoy it. There's no state championship for this team, and there's no state championship for any sports except for the spring sports right now. He said, I just want to go out there and enjoy it. We're going to end the season with a league championship. If we're in it, great. If we win it, awesome. If not, whatever. Just go out there and enjoy it and let these kids start, or especially the underclassmen, prepare for the fall. So the big thing for Coach Buren in his final season, just enjoy the last season and go out as a winner.
And for the players as well, because don't forget there are seniors on this team that are playing in their final season, and I have to imagine for them it feels a little strange having football take place when you're starting to prepare for finals and get the graduation plans together. But for BR, senior running back Anthony Morrison, he's certainly done a good job for the BR Trojans if you go back to the last game against Middleborough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is a little bit weird until you step out there onto the gridiron and all of that goes away and you just have to focus on one thing, and that's just to win a football game. I know the weather's a little different. There's a lot of different circumstances, as you mentioned, around it. But once they get onto the field, there's only one task at hand. That's just to win a football game.
I have to say, we are taking safety precautions, so much so that I, after, 10-plus years here at the Regional, I have my own little personal booth. I'm starting to like this.
Yeah, we don't have to look at each other, which is great.
Tell me about it.
Kicking for Bridgewater-Raynham, Nolan DeAndre.
So the BR Trojans changing up their uniforms, I believe, from the last time that we saw them. The last time we saw them, I think it was blue on red for numbers, right?
Yeah, it was the red jersey and the red and blue numbers. It was kind of hard to see. I wonder if it was they kept hearing us complaining about it and they changed to the permanent white jerseys, which makes the numbers much easier to see. But if we make a mistake, it's really just on us, John.
Mason Berry kicks things off, and we are underway here at the Regional. Ronald Jeanty taking it up for the Hilltoppers, going on the near sideline, pushed out right around the 35, 36-yard line.
Knocked out of bounds by
Pretty
number
good return
32,
there to start
James
things
Hall.
off for the Hilltoppers.
This Hilltoppers team does have some talent on there. Jason Hall rushed for 1,200 yards in his sophomore season, named a Southeast Conference All-Star. Hall is going to be number 1 for the Hilltoppers.
And a very good player at that. Overheard Coach Buren at the beginning of the game. He said number 1 for Durfee is a very, very good player.
So the first play here at the Regional is the quarterback in the shotgun position. Handoff is to Hall. He's going to pick up about 3 yards on the play.
Ball carried by number 1, Jason Hall.
So that shotgun formation there for the Hilltoppers, trying to spread out this Trojans defense a little bit just to show you that there is a passing formation, try to get the defensive backs to come back just a little bit more to open up some more running space there for Jason Hall.
Quarterback for Durfee, Isaiah Thomas. Not the basketball player, but the football player.
Knew that was coming.
So Thomas is in the shotgun. Hall is on Thomas's right. And again, they go to the big running back who takes this one straight up the middle past the 45. And I think they're going to call him short by about 1.5 yards or so. But if you're Durfee, I think this is probably the name of the game for today. Just get the ball to number 1 and let him do what he does best.
Absolutely. The big size of Jason Hall right there. There's a 3-receiver set there for the Hilltoppers. Had a slot receiver off towards the far side, but they still ran away from him. It was take a look at the replay. Still ran away, went up the middle, and just going to use his brute strength to try to push that line. Brings up a third and very manageable.
So far, Jason Hall, 9 yards on 2 carries. 3rd and 1. BR has 4 on the line. Again, they go with the running play right up to midfield, goes Hall.
Jason Hall, the ball carrier.
Yeah, for Durfee, just keep giving the ball to number 1 there and prove that BR can stop it.
This was a Trojans team that held Middleborough to 6 points last week. We could hear the players and the coaches working on the defensive side of the ball and picking up some of the play calling.
Jason Hall, 6'2", 215. Whew.
Good luck stopping that. First down, they give us to Hall. Picks up a couple yards. Gonna bring up 2nd and about 8 for Durfee.
Jason Hall, pick up of 2.
Now we're seeing Durfee there too. They put a fullback into that backfield just to be a lead blocker for him to open up even more of a hole. But only, like you say, there's only a 3-yard gain. That's a pretty good job there from the Trojans defensive line and linebackers.
Again, this is the 2nd game for BR this season. Ronald Jeanty lining up on the far side for Durfee as we have a 2nd and 7 with 8:23 to go in the first quarter. Thomas rolls to his right, getting chased out of the pocket. That's going to be intercepted. The first passing play for Durfee is an INT.
That's a good job there from the Trojans secondary. We'll take a look at the replay right here. Not avoiding or not leaving their assignments, not falling for that play action, and just undercut that route right there. And it's a good job from Trojans getting the ball here.
So after all the running plays, Durfee tries to pass in the first try. Gets picked off by number 88, Luke Payton. So now a chance to see Nolan DeAndre at quarterback for the BR Trojans. And the Trojans going to go with 2 receivers on the far side from their own 41. Here's the pitch. Trick play.
Wide open.
And it almost pays off the fingertips.
Looking for Ryan Breheny just off the fingertips. And you remember, John, a couple years ago, Anthony Morrison was the quarterback of this Bridgewater-Raynham team. Excellent play call here from Dan Buron right at the start. You think it's that typical pitch that Bridgewater-Raynham runs all the time. And then you have Anthony Morrison out there and just a little too far as you take a look at the replay. Wide open. He was going for pay dirt. It was just a little too far.
So after a trick play attempt, BR comes up with 2nd down. And you have to imagine there's a little more free feeling with this season because you don't have to worry about the playoffs or trying to go to a Super Bowl here.
Yeah, absolutely. You see a lot of times on Thanksgiving Day that Coach Buron tends to switch things up. It's not that the game doesn't necessarily matter, but as I said, there's no state championship. You're just going to end with the Southeast Conference championship.
Handoff is to Morrison. Takes it up to about the line of scrimmage, maybe a short loss. To bring up 3rd and about 11.
Yeah, this defensive line here for Durfee is no joke. I don't know how much success Bridgewater-Raynham's going to have running right at them.
No gain on the play. 3rd and 10.
Morrison last week, 23 carries on 190 yards and a touchdown. That was a 38-yard touchdown run he had last week on the road. One of the seniors on this BR Trojans football team. And with a different quarterback, you have to wonder if there's maybe some adjustments that have to be made, understanding that these players have been around each other for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you bring in a new quarterback, and I know in the high school ranks or in college, you're around them. You have the practices. You're going to have some familiarity. But as the season goes on, you're going to get more and more comfortable.
On 3rd down, DeAndre going deep, and that's going to be incomplete, intended for number 12, Breheny. But some nice secondary play there by number 7 for Durfee, Ronald Jeanty.
Yeah, it looks like some hand fighting there. I'm glad, though, with the no call. You got 2 hand fighting here, and we'll take a look at the replay again. But, you know, that it was just a good play. It was a good throw. He threw only where his receiver can get it, and there's a lot of hand fighting. It was a good no call. We'll take a look at the replay, as I said, right here. a good throw, got a nice little arc under it. And that was the only place really where his receiver was going to catch it, even though it was a little too high and far.
7:04 to go in the first quarter. Trojans going to kick things away. Strong kick from DeAndre. And it goes to number 6 for the Hilltoppers. Going along the near sideline, that's Jaden Anthony Lewis. Pushed out right about the same field position that Durfee had last time.
And I think if you're Durfee, just keep giving the ball to number 1, Jason Hall. Take a look at the punt return here. Near sideline here, the Trojan special team haven't done the greatest so far on the kickoff and the punt return.
Hall already with 14 yards on 4 carries. And if you're Durfee, you have to be extremely thankful that after an interception like that, you hold BR to a 3-and-out.
Although it was literally a couple inches away from Trojans having at least a 6-0 lead.
They do hand the ball off to Hall. Gets up to about the 43-yard line.
Looks like Durfee is really trying to attack the left side of, or excuse me, the right side of Bridgewater-Raynham's defensive line, going to the left side of their offensive line. See a mismatch right there. All those runs have gone either right up the middle or towards the left.
About 4.5 minutes gone in the first quarter. Still scoreless between Durfee and BR.
Another 3-receiver set here.
Thomas in the shotgun. 3-receiver set. Hand the ball off to Hall, and he gets stopped at midfield. It should be enough for the first down.
Major Montero, number 10 there for the Hilltoppers, made an excellent block there on the backside to allow that run to even happen.
Pretty impressed with the size of this Durfee offensive line, providing Hall some running opportunities.
Yeah, no joke. You got a big receiver, big running back. You got a big offensive line.
Hall straight through the middle into BR territory to the 46, 45-yard line.
Yeah, I think that was the first time that Durfee ran to the left side of the Trojans' defensive line there. Running left, running right seems to be working, and I don't think you're going to see even one pass attempt on this drive unless if this second down play really goes wrong.
Number 14, Shodion Medina going to the far side for Durfee. 2 receivers on the near side here, and of course Hall in the backfield. They're going to hand this one off to the fullback. That's number 10, Niger Montero, who gets enough for the first down by about a yard or so.
I like that play call right there. Switch it up in the backfield, and Montero, as I said, made an excellent block a few plays ago, and I think they did a good job of rewarding him. We'll take a look at the replay right there. You think it's going to go to Hall, and it's just a quick hitter right there to Montero.
Bridgewater-Raynham, 39-yard line.
And if you're Taylor Brown, is that kind of the play calling you're going to expect here? Hall for a bunch, then hand it off to Niger Montero, try and break up that monotony?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they always say balanced attack is passing and running, but you could still have a balanced attack within your running game, handing it off to 2 different players.
Here is the aforementioned Hall, goes to the left side of the line, across the 35-yard line, gets about a 4-yard pickup.
Ball carrier. Pickup for both.
Already the 8th carry for number 1.
I would love to see Jason Hall in the open field and see any shifty moves and what speed that he really has. And Bridgewater-Raynham's done a decent job so far making sure he doesn't really get into that open field. Then again, a lot of the plays have been really right up the middle. They've only ran 1 or 2 maybe to the outside.
I think the most dangerous thing for the Southeast Conference football teams here is that Hall's a junior. There's still another year plus of this running back.
There's still another year of this train in this league.
2nd and 6, under 4 minutes to go. Thomas gonna pass, almost slides, breaks free. He'll get the first down and then some inside the BR red zone up to the 16-yard line.
Right there, they went for that pass play. I didn't think they were going to even try that. No receivers were open. Take a look at the replay. Excellent job from the Trojans secondary.
Push out of bounds by Hunter Darrell.
May have been a little bit of a hole, but I like the there's no flag thrown.
Ball is on the
So about a 19-yard run.
Bridgewater-Raynham.
Yeah, we'll go with it. John Luck, official stat.
I mean, according to Max Prep, you are the all-star reporter, right?
Well, you know, not everyone can be an all-star. Hey, now.
Oh boy, that's how we're going to start the season, though.
A little smash mouth, you know?
On first down, the give is to Hall, who just with ease gets into the second level of the BR defense across the 10 up to the 9-yard line.
Tackler on the play, Hunter Dara.
Already 3 first downs on this drive for the Hilltop. 8th play coming up.
That was Hunter Dara diving across to stop Hall before he could do any more damage.
Approaching the 4-minute mark, too, of this drive.
Second and a couple inches as we have 2:45 to go in the first quarter. Still scoreless, but Durfee looking to change that. Hall gets wrapped up and taken down. Going to be a short loss.
Good work right there from the linebackers and the defensive line there from the Trojans. I believe it's the first run for negative yards here for Jason Hall on the afternoon.
That's number 87, Logan Johnson. I think a suplex attempt.
And the only thing for the Trojans here is if you keep loading up the box, at what point does Durfee try to pass again? You know, the 2 passing tries that they've had, one was intercepted, one ended up in a really long run there for the quarterback. But if the Trojans keep loading that box, at some point, Durfee's going to pull back and throw.
Hilltopper showing a 3-receiver look. Montero and Hall in the backfield along with Thomas. And they are going to pass here on third down. Thomas gets stopped, but I think he's going to get stopped past the first down marker.
Yeah, Logan Johnson there on the rush there for the Trojans. Take a look at the replay.
Run out of bounds by
Good job here from Johnson.
Ball is placed.
I think you're right, John. It's going to be a first down.
6-yard line.
Hilltoppers just eating clock up here in the first quarter. We're down to 1:43 to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, this drive started with 6:52 remaining in this quarter. Excellent drive from the Hilltoppers.
And we are going to get a stoppage here. Timeout taken by Dan Bieron and the BR Trojans at such an early crucial point.
Bridgewater-Raynham Trojans.
With Durfee on the doorsteps of putting some points on the board.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to get his team some breathers in there. I mean, trying to stop Jason Hall is not going to be an easy task for the rest of the afternoon. And you know, they have first and goal. They're at the 6-yard line. They're threatening here to take the lead. You got to calm your players down. You have to remind them too that now that they're in the short part of the field, Durfee's probably going to run the ball and keep running the ball. So I think Bridgewater-Raynham can get away with trying to load the box a little bit because your defensive backs have done such an excellent job so far.
And here you see is one of the changes this season, some of the safety protocols. With a timeout, you have looks like a 36-pack of water coming out that the players can each grab a bottle.
Yeah, that's been one of the many restrictions here, or different things that sports have to do. Obviously the masks, every sport has to wear them, and we saw that evident when we showed some basketball games this year, some soccer games this year, and still goes for the spring sports. And I talked to Coach Buren about this too when we spoke before the season started about the spring athletes, because as you know, last spring they got their season ripped away from them, and this spring not only do they get their season back, but they're going to be the first sports to have a state championship where every sport really stopped at their league or conference championship. But yeah, just going back to your point of the restrictions, everyone's got to stay 6 feet apart. You can't have the shared water bottles. You bring out the big pack of water. And, I'm sure it's been an adjustment period, but I think the players and coaches have done a decent job. Actually, more than a decent job. They've probably done an amazing job of actually abiding by these.
Certainly a lot better than the other option and not being able to take the field. So certainly a lot of dedication among the players and the coaches to adhere to all the guidelines. But right now, BR defense trying to step up. Hard to do when you have a big running back like Jason Hall, but they get the stop that time for a very little change in yardage there. Going to bring up second and goal.
Yeah, just keep loading that
Second
box. You
down.
know they're going to keep running with him. They're probably going to run with him on this play here, and then you bring up
Ball
an
to go.
obvious passing situation on
infraction
third
on the
down. But
tackle.
still, you don't want to think that they're going to pass, because if they come out with 3, 4, even 5 wide receivers, and then you have Hall in the backfield, you have a very stretched, thin defense with a big player like Hall that can still run through it. It's going to be interesting to see what they do here. I think they're going to run on this play.
Changing to the far side for Durfee. Again, 2nd and goal. Hand off to Hall, and Hall is going to pick up some yardage, but still
Picked up
without
about
points on the
2.
scoreboard. Bring up 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line.
It will
See
be
Hall cut back to the left.
Third
He
down.
saw that he had a hole, and it closed pretty quick. 3rd and goal coming up here from the 3. Interesting what they're going to do here. I wonder if they're going to do like a jumbo set here, get a fullback in front of Hall, and see if they can really open up a hole for him to get the 3 yards into the end zone. But you still have to be aware of that play action pass. I know the Trojans defense or secondary has done a great job, but still, all it takes is for one person to bite on it, and there's a touchdown.
Final seconds are going to tick off the first quarter clock, so I think Taylor Brown is just going to take the option to have a little more time to think about this big 3rd and goal coming up.
Bridgewater-Raynham, nothing. Durfee Hilltoppers, nothing.
And right now, if you're Dan Bjorn, what can you say to this defense that's been on the field for basically this entire first quarter?
Yeah, like I said, this drive started with the 6:52 mark. Their first drive took a couple minutes off as well, but you got to be proud of what they've done. I mean, I know Jason Hall is a lot to bring down, but this defensive line has actually done a pretty good job of bringing him down, John.
Logan Johnson with a key stop inside the red zone for the BR Trojans, keeping this game scoreless as we enter quarter number 2. These two teams did have a series of games. I'm not going to call it a rivalry, I think, but the two teams did play each other between 2007 and 2012. BR won all the matchups by a combined score of 204 to 70. Obviously, a lot has changed since 2012, but there's some familiarity here.
Yeah, just a couple things have changed since then.
We're older.
There's no Jason Hall there for the Durfee Hilltoppers. And I'm really another player I'm impressed with on this Durfee Hilltoppers team.
Mentioned the offensive line for this Durfee team. Number 68, Robitaille, 6'4", 350. Number 70, Sage Paredes, 6'6", 295. So
Literally just about to bring him up, and then you so rudely cut me off. I was gonna say no, but he is.
there's a wall.
He's a. Speaking of Wallet, that's him, your right tackle there for the Hilltoppers.
I'm not used to not having the silent cues going. So again, this regular season is 5 games. I mean, I think it's maybe 1 or 2 games less than we typically see in a regular season. So there's not much changing at that point.
I think the players are just thrilled that they have some semblance of a season, even if it ended up being 2 or 3 games. I think they're just thrilled to finally be back out here playing, because really at Bridgewater-Raynham, football was the only sport that was affected in the fall. Their soccer team was still able to play, field hockey was still able to play, volleyball was still able to play. It was only football that didn't get the chance to play originally in fall. But and of course, the MIAA did come out and announce that there is going to be a Fall 2 sports season, which is what we're witnessing right here.
And also for the parents and the families being able to come out. I know in the Boston area and I think the North Shore as well, they're not able to have families or friends even watch the games. So having the families here and some close friends, each player I believe got 2 tickets for family members. So it's nice to have some crowd here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great that we get to stream this live. It's a little bit tricky to stream live here for Bridgewater. Well, the turf field here at Bridgewater-Raynham. No internet, so a lot of tech stuff has to go on. So a big shout out to our crew finally able to get this going out live on Bridgewater-Raynham's YouTube page.
We hope you are enjoying watching this on a Saturday afternoon in March. Football in March. What a interesting concept, but
Hey, the XFL did it.
that's true. All right, we have a 3rd and goal coming up here, and the player that got it all done in this game kicks off the second quarter the only way he can. A 5-yard run for the touchdown.
Yeah, 12-play drive took just about 7 minutes to complete. An excellent drive here for the Durfee Hilltoppers. And the 3-yard touchdown run, 3-yard touchdown run there for Jason Hall.
Now, my math might be off, but I think that's Hall's 13th carry.
We'll go with the John Luck official stat.
Either way, Durfee opening the scoring book here with a 6-0 lead. And Sebastian and Acio gonna try for the PAT.
He's got the wind at his back, though I don't think he's really gonna have an issue with the distance.
Awkward snap there, a broken play, and BR is gonna keep Durfee to 6.
Yeah, it was a low snap. The holder really couldn't do anything with it, and by the time he figured it out, kicker kind of abandoned him, trying to see if there was going to be even a pass attempt in there, and good job from Bridgewater-Raynham to stop that and keep it at a 6-0 game.
So as we get set to see Nolan DeAndre and the BR Trojans offense come back out, how important is it for Dan Bjorn to convey the message that, you know what, we need to get not just momentum going, but allow the defense to be able to get a breather here, because they just spent close to 7-8 minutes on the field.
It's huge. You have to get some drive going here. You have to pick up a few first downs here if you're the Trojans offense to get your defense a little bit of rest and get that momentum going, and maybe even put some points on the board. Remember, too, and I'm going to keep mentioning this, Bridgewater-Raynham's first play from scrimmage was a few inches away from the Trojans taking, at that time, a 6-0 lead, maybe even 7 or 8 points, but the throw was just a little too far for Benny, and now we see Durfee has the 6-0 lead. So for the Trojans, you know, you have the ability to throw. We've seen that right now. And you have DeAndre, who's a very capable quarterback. You have Morrison, who's a very capable running back. But it's key for Bridgewater-Raynham to get the ball moving and make sure that your defense can rest a little bit.
High kick that takes a bounce. Morrison picks it up around his own 10-yard line. Looking for a few extra, dives to the 25, and that's where the offense will start off for BR for the second time.
It's a good job there from Anthony Morrison just to fight for a couple extra yards to get that ball up to the 25-yard line.
And Ethan Horseman.
Nolan DeAndre takes over for Austin Hartzell. Hartzell going to be focusing on his baseball career
25-yard line.
at a school Brian is a very big fan of at the college ranks.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but yes, he has committed to Boston College.
Well, if I didn't, you were. Let's be honest.
You were right, but you know you're the one that brought it up first. So, I mean, I just know that you're such a huge BC fan as well.
Sure, we'll go with that. Trojans starting out, split receiver set.
By the way, a ranked Boston College baseball team.
Peyton the motion man for Morrison to dive through the middle up to the 31.
And one last thing, John, I'm going to bring this up about BC baseball. Easily one of the greatest comebacks in baseball history. They were down 9 runs to Auburn on the road. 2-out rally, was able to tie it up and actually get the win in the 10th inning.
I feel like I'm doing the game with Karavis with all this BC talk. Second and 4 after the Morrison 6-yard pickup. Daniel Francis, the motion man, and we get an early jump.
I think it's going to be Andrew Veneno there, the left tackle for the Trojans, jumped a little bit early.
Legal procedure, 5-yard penalty.
So the penalty basically negates the Morrison pickup.
Be 2nd and 9 for the Trojans.
25 seconds here, coach. 25. Here we go.
DeAndre, a junior quarterback for the Trojans. So as I heard in the interview with Dan Biron, this is a chance for some coaches to kind of prepare for the next season. And for Dan Biron, he's still preparing these players for next season because players like DeAndre are still going to probably be on the BR Trojans football team.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great opportunity for the kids. A lot of them just treat this as spring football, spring practice. You get to play a couple extra games and really get ready for the fall.
Here's Morrison up to the 35, rolls past the first down marker. First down for the Trojans, a very key pickup there for Anthony Morrison.
Yeah, very big 12-yard run there for Morrison to pick up Bridgewater-Raynham's first down of the game.
Bridgewater-Raynham, first down.
Take a look at the replay. Oh, maybe we won't. Just teasing you.
Ball is on the 38-yard line.
I mean, we can describe it.
Go ahead.
It was a good run.
Very descriptive.
Last time Morrison was on the field here was the Cape Cod Cafe Cup and on Thanksgiving of 2019. Had a 97-yard game. Morrison breaks through, finds daylight into Durfee territory, and Morrison has just put BR on the board.
62-yard touchdown run for Anthony Morrison. It's the typical Bridgewater-Raynham sweep. Go to the outside, your offensive line gets out there and gets blocked not only right there at the line, but downfield. And Bridgewater-Raynham has tied this game up.
The fourth carry of the day for Anthony Morrison has the Trojans tying this game up on a 62-yard run. That was after he picked up 12 on that crucial first down pickup.
And this is good for Bridgewater-Raynham. Obviously, it ties the game up, but it gives you the confidence that you're still in this game, and you can tie this game up and you can score points pretty quickly for the Trojans, because you know we've seen Durfee's offense is going to take up a lot of clock.
Owen Green on for the PAT. And BR will take a 7-6 lead with 8:54 to go in the first half.
8:54 on the clock.
This is an excellent run there from Anthony Morrison. We've seen it time and time again in his time here at the regional on that pitch play to the outside. And great job from receivers in the offensive line, as I said, to get blocks at the line, but still get downfield and make those blocks. And then once he gets into the secondary, not many people are going to catch him, John.
And for years, we talked about the running game and the list of running backs, but they've all been complimentary of one part of this game, and that is the offensive line. And if you're Anthony Morrison, I think you have to give as much praise to the offensive line as Morrison got on that play, because they gave him a nice open hole on the left side.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's the ability to make blocks, but also make them in the open field. And as I said it a few times, get downfield, make those blocks in the secondary. And this offensive line has done an absolutely outstanding job of doing that so far.
Back for Durfee to receive the kickoff. Number 10, Nasha Ontario. Number 7, Ronald GT. To kick off for the Trojans.
Looks like GT and Jaden Anthony Lewis ready to kick, or ready to receive the kick, I should say. From the 15 along the far sideline, and Durfee's going to have some nice field position here off of a good return from Jaden Anthony Lewis.
Yeah, special teams so far for the Hilltoppers doing a pretty good job. All they're doing is running up to the right, getting towards that sideline, and they're finding a lot of pay dirt.
I have to point out GT there on one of the key blocks as well, but I think if you flip the field, I think that was the same sideline that Durfee's been able to capitalize on, so maybe that's something that they look to continue to exploit here in the first half. First play on the drive goes to Hall across midfield into BR territory, and he's going to keep on running. Jason Hall is going to dive for the end zone. Did he get in? No, just shy of the goal line.
54-yard run just to end at the 1 yard line.
On the 1 yard line. Driven out of bounds at the 1 yard line. By Nolan DeAndre. It'll be first and goal from the 1.
The quarterback with a stop. Very, very close to answering Anthony Morrison's big run.
As I kept saying, well, as I said before this drive started, I said Durfee's just really going to take up a lot of clock and just keep chewing and chewing. And just like that, one play, 54 yards.
Thomas, handoff Hall. And
Ball carrier, touchdown Durfee.
that's going to be a touchdown for the Hilltoppers. Jason Hall, a 1 yard run, but that's after a 54-yard run. As we said, Hall rushed for 1,200 yards in his sophomore season. He was named a Southeast Conference All-Star. I think we're starting to figure out why.
You think?
Durfee will go for 2 on the extra point.
So Hilltopper's going to look to make up for that botched PAT attempt earlier. And Thomas throws this one. That's going to be intercepted, so no 2 points there. Luke Payton gets the INT. If I remember right, I think that was the player that intercepted Thomas earlier.
I believe you are correct, John. But again, this passing game for Durfee not really working all that well. So if you're the Trojans, you have to try and do everything you can to try to get them into that obvious passing situation, get into a 3rd and long. But how do you stop Jason Hall? He's got to stack the box and just rely on your defensive backs that have done a good job so far.
Snap here, the BR offense coming out here once again after you just got a nice 62-yard run from Anthony Morrison. How do you continue to keep things going here offensively?
Well, just do what you did that last drive, that pitch play. Bridgewater-Raynham over the years has really done a spectacular job of running to the outside, and their offensive line and their receivers have done an awesome job of getting downfield to make those blocks. So if you're the Trojans, keep doing that. If you run to the left or pitch to the left, pitch to the right, it's going to spread out that defensive line there of Durfee, and that's when you can start running up the middle, and that's where you have your balance in that running attack.
Morrison awaiting this kick around his own 9-yard line.
Durfee will be number 15, Sebastian Anasio.
Strong end-over-end kick, and Morrison's going to go from his own 15.
There's a hole up this near side. Found
Morrison rolls off a defender, gets to the 41-yard line.
As I said, there was a huge hole there. If he found it towards the near side, he did. If he was able to get more towards the near sideline, I think he would have been able to get a few more yards, maybe even a touchdown out of that. We'll take a look at the replay right here. There was a nice hole right here. You see the alley right in the middle of your screen.
Trojans, 1st and 10.
Still pretty darn good return there to get up to the 41-yard line.
Anthony Morrison, 79 yards on 4 carries and 1 touchdown in the first half.
Pretty good day at the office.
Mentioned had 190 yards last week against Middleborough. A jump.
Yep, they're going to get Durfee on that 5 for yards.
5-yard penalty. They'll place the ball around the 50-yard line. 1st and 5.
So just 2 5-yard penalties. There was an offside or false start, for Bridgewater-Raynham
Ball is placed on the
earlier in this
49-yard
quarter,
line.
and now Durfee with the 5-yard offside. Been a clean game so far.
You would think you'd get a lot of flags in the first couple of games of the season, just players trying to play against each other.
Yeah, you can make an argument that a lot of times that could happen, but I think these players, they've been prepared for it. I know a lot of times you think in the early part of the season there's going to be a lot of mistakes, but I think they've played enough football to know.
Rennie on the far side, Peyton the motion man. And the give is to Morrison, and I think Morrison might have gotten bumped by one of his own teammates, but still a small pickup there for the senior running back.
Number 11 for the Durfee Hilltoppers.
Durfee lost last week against the Brockton Boxers, looking for their first win of the season here at the expense of the BR Trojans. 2nd and 4, Daniel Francis on the near side. And they send Peyton in motion again. Play action. DeAndre is going to take this one. And it's going to be pretty close, but I think they're going to call him short by about a yard or two.
Yeah, got up to about the 49-yard line, gain of 2 on the play. Brings up a 3rd and short, though, but your playbook is wide open here with a 3rd and 2. For play action you can even do the bootleg like you just saw, QB sneak, or you can just run it with Morrison. Your playbook is wide open on 3rd and manageable. It's really when you get into the 3rd and long, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, it's an obvious passing situation, and the defense obviously has the leg up there.
On 3rd and 2, again they have Morrison in the backfield. With 7:21 to go in the first half. And we get a stoppage here.
I think they were going to get Bridgewater-Raynham with a delay of game, and I think Coach Bjorn is saying that the back judge never had his hand up, but the official on the far side of the field, I believe, is the one that's going to call the penalty. Are they going to award him a timeout? Yep, they're gonna give a delay of game here to the Trojans.
And that just changes things altogether, I think, because now you go from a 3rd and 2 to a 3rd and 7.
Penalty on the play, delay of game. Be 3rd down and 7 for the Trojans. From their own 44-yard line.
Like I said, I think Coach Bjorn is saying that the back judge on his sideline didn't have his hand up, but the official towards the far sideline didn't. No one's on the same page here, and that's what Coach Bjorn is saying, I think.
So on a 3rd and 7, does this have to be a passing play?
I think it would have to be a passing play. 3rd and long. I mean, that'd be a pretty daunting task to try to pick up 7 yards. I know Morrison's had a couple of, big runs in this game, but I don't know if you can really trust someone on 3rd and 7.
3 receivers to the near side. DeAndre has a defender coming up behind him, but the Trojans will get on the ball. In a big series of events for the Durfee Hilltoppers.
Take a look at the replay. He had no idea that he had someone on his blind side. Not a clue in the world.
Jason Hall.
That name sounds familiar.
He is just trying to take the Trojans out by himself here this afternoon.
Kicking for the Trojans, number 10, DeAndre.
So the Trojans going to kick it away here with 6.5 to go in the first half.
Well,
A fake punt. This is Morrison taking it, but he's going to still be short of the first down.
I understand the idea for trickery.
Anthony
But
Morrison, ball handler.
if you weren't going to pick up a 3rd and 7 on the ground, I don't know if you're going to pick up a 4th and 12 or 13 on the ground.
Jody and Medina is the tackle on the play. The Hilltoppers will take over on downs. First and 10 for Durfee.
And there is no wind to speak of, because originally I thought it was maybe because there was some wind coming through, but
Ball is marked on the Trojans. 46
nonetheless, the Hilltoppers going to start off at the BR 46-yard line.
It was a good job there from the Hilltoppers defensive line. You just saw the replay. They weren't biting on it. They were able to get through the offensive line there for the Trojans, able to stop Morrison. And now they have a very short field to try to increase their lead.
Jason Hall already a couple of touchdown runs on the day. And he's going to get met right at the line of scrimmage by a couple of BR defenders. Or excuse me, that's going to be number 10, Niger Montero.
Yeah, I don't think Montero and Thomas were on the same page there. Thomas went to his right. You'll take a look at the replay right here. It was just off screen, but he went to his right, and Montero was running onto his left, so he had to turn around. I don't know if that was by design or if they just weren't on the same page there.
Now a 2nd down coming up for Durfee. And here's a handoff. That's going to be to number 6. That's Jaden Anthony Lewis, but we have a flag on the field.
That's going to be holding on the Hilltoppers right there on the edge.
J.D. Lewis.
Take a look at the replay. Hold was just off the screen.
Andre was the tackle on the play. Will win the penalty.
Oh, maybe they're going to call a block in the back here. I thought it was a hold. No, it. Yeah.
Block in the back was the call. 10-yard penalty.
Big penalty there, because now Durfee goes back to their own side of the field.
On its 43-yard line,
They
2nd
bring
down
up a
and
2nd and 20.
Now this is huge for the Trojans. You know Hall's getting the ball here for Durfee. You just know it. I know even though you have four wide receiver set, 3 to the top, you know Hall is still most likely going to get the ball here.
And Durfee's going to call a timeout with 5:16 to go.
Yeah, Taylor Brown didn't like what he saw from the Trojans defensively right there, decided to take that timeout. Yeah, like I said, he had 3 receivers towards the top of the screen, 1 on the bottom, try to stretch out that Trojans defense. And I think everyone knows that Hall is still going to get the ball in that situation, even though it's 2nd and long. But Hall has the ability to rip off a huge run.
And you think, sorry, I was going to say, you think about the importance of this drive for Durfee. Obviously, with a touchdown, you push this to a 2-possession game, and I believe BR gets the ball first to kick off the second half. So, I mean, obviously, Durfee looking to put as many points on the scoreboard, because we all know that BR does have that drive that we always talk about in the second half.
Exactly. I was going to say, we always talk about that drive that Bridgewater-Raynham always traditionally has in the third quarter. It takes a lot of time, and they usually get 6 or 7 points out of it. So this is a huge drive here for Durfee. You want to make it a 2-score game here, and if you can, and you give the ball back to Bridgewater-Raynham, you've seen how quickly this Trojans team can score. This is huge for Durfee, and I know you want to pick up as many yards as you can here to bring up a 3rd and manageable.
So far, the scoring, Hall with a 3-yard run, a 1-yard run, both for touchdowns, and Anthony Morrison with a 62-yard run for the BR Trojans. That's how it's gone us to this point on the scoreboard with 5:16 to go. Thomas in the gun. He's going to get rushed. Does get the ball off to Hall, and Hall lowers the boom right across midfield. I believe that was DeAndre who got the worst of that hit.
Yeah, he'll feel that one tomorrow. Nice little screenplay right here. We'll take a look at the replay. Nice screenplay right here. You had 2 Trojans right in your face. Nice little arc on that pass to get it to Hall. Just lowers the shoulder. It was a nice tackle there, but you're going to be feeling that one for a few hours. But now, again, this brings up an obvious passing situation here. 3rd and 13 here for the Hilltoppers. not mistaken, I believe that was the first completed pass of the entire game.
I think you're right. Thomas again gets rushed, and he's going to get taken down.
Isaiah Thomas on the carry. Evan Thrasher with the tackle for the Trojans. Will be brought down. In 13. Back to receive for the Trojans.
Replay right there. Again, Logan Johnson in the backfield for the Trojans. Kind of been a thorn in the side there in the early going here for Bridgewater-Raynham.
And junior lineman Evan Thrasher with the sack of the quarterback brings up a fourth down. Obviously, Durfee going to punt here, but still a very important defensive drive for the BR Trojans.
Woo. Almost got blocked, too.
Hall kicks it away and takes a Durfee roll to the 5 and to the 4.
Good run by Durfee. It's blown dead on
And nearly
the
blocked.
5-yard
Guess
line
who?
of Bridgewater
Logan
Raynham.
Johnson once again in the backfield.
3:32 left in the half.
You've seen the two tight ends have a lot of defensive efforts given today. Logan Johnson and Luke Payton. Payton, the 2 interceptions, but Johnson has been a wrecker for that BR Trojans defense.
Absolutely. If you can just wreak havoc in that backfield, especially, I mean, today really hasn't worked out on the running game, but in that passing attack and on the special teams right there, it hasn't been a fun day for Isaiah Thomas with him coming down.
Now a chance here for the BR Trojans to possibly get 2 straight offensive possessions with 3:32 to go in the first half.
Of course, we'll remind you, coming up at halftime, we'll play the entire conversation that I had with Coach Buron. It was a good time. Enjoyed it.
Very informational conversation. As again, Coach Buron coaching in his final season here at the regional. I think it was interesting, not to give too much away, but just because this is his final season here at BR as a head coach doesn't mean he wants to step away from the game at all.
No, that's a very good tease, John. I will give you some points for that.
I played it like 5 times in my head. Here's a handoff to Morrison. Going to be a short pickup.
Tackled by number 1.
Now remember,
Hall
too,
for Durfee.
John, you mentioned this earlier, only 3 timeouts in the half instead of
2,
normally
second
5.
down.
And Durfee already used 1. And I think Bridgewater-Raynham may be trying to milk the clock out a little bit, so they're going to let that first play happen. But if there's no gain on this play here for the Trojans, or very minimal, wouldn't be surprised to see Durfee Hilltopper's timeout.
As we go under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Pitch goes to Morrison. And Morrison is going to get the first down as he gets taken down shy of the 20 up to the 18-yard line.
There's that big play. Take a look at the replay. Just stretch out that defense a little bit. And Morrison, you got to trust him to find a hole. And so far on these few pitch plays, he's found that hole.
Ball is on Bridgewater-Raynham.
12-yard gain.
Line, 1st and 10.
More importantly, it gives DeAndre a little bit of breathing room if the Trojans do try and go for the passing play. And perhaps even more important than that is the fact that time continues to tick down inside of 2:30 to go. DeAndre going to throw this one deep and off the fingertips again. That's Ryan Breheny. I think that's the 3rd time he's had a ball off the fingertips.
Yeah, had him too, and the wind's swirling a little bit. It's going from the near sideline towards the far sideline. I have to wonder if the wind affected that one a little bit. The thing is, too, is he was about to get sacked, and he probably threw a little bit more extra sauce on that one right there, thinking that he wasn't really going to be able to step into it, but that ball kind of sailed on him.
Important for Durfee. Obviously, with an incompleted pass, the clock stops at 2:11 to go on 2nd down.
Absolutely. It pretty much gives another timeout there for Durfee.
Rennie going to line up on the far side. And Francis on the near side. Hand off to Morrison, but he's met at the line of scrimmage, maybe even behind the line of scrimmage by Jason Hall and a couple of other defenders.
Tackle on play by number 1, Jason Hall. Be third down and 10 for the
Take a look
Trojans.
at the replay here. Kind of surprised Durfee hasn't called any of their timeouts to try to preserve some clock. You know they're going to try and run when they get the ball back if they get the stop right here.
Jeff Castro.
So realistically, this clock could stop around maybe 1:15, 1:20 before you get to a potential fourth down.
Yeah, if you're the Trojans, just snap it at the last second, wait for the back judge hand to go up. Or not.
Pitch to Morrison. And he's going to be shy of the first down stick out to the 22-yard line.
Handoff was to Morrison.
There's that timeout there from Durfee.
And there's been a timeout.
So they'll have one left.
Charge to Durfee.
And probably under 110, depending on the punt for this drive. So this is an important punt here for the Trojans. Now the wind's still kind of swirling from near sideline towards the far sideline, kind of going into the punter's face here. So wind's not going to really help out the punt here for the Trojans. If Durfee can get this ball near midfield, or even better for the Durfee Hilltoppers in BR territory, it's still pretty good, even though it's going to be just over a minute. You have that one timeout. And we've seen that Jason Hall does have the ability to rip off a big gain.
He does have a 54-yard run. That was on the last offensive drive.
I mean, the number one thing here, though, for Durfee is do not allow Bridgewater-Raynham to get the ball again in this second quarter.
And again, coming up at the half, we'll have Brian's conversation with the head coach of the BR Trojans, Dan Biron, so you'll certainly want to stick around for that. Coming up in about a minute and 17 of gameplay.
And number 7, Ronald Jensen.
Of course, it's a conversation done over Zoom because that's how we've been talking for the past year plus.
Yeah, the commute to get to this interview was great.
Yeah, they're going to kick this one past midfield. Time continuing to wind down, and Durfee will have a minute 6 to try and get something done.
It was a pretty good punt right there, even though it's going to be about a 51, 52-yard field here for Durfee, but still, if they were able to get this ball inside, say, the 45-yard line, oof.
Don't forget, the clock does stop to move the chains, and obviously Durfee still has one timeout to go. So this half is far from done, still with 66 seconds to go. Medina on the far side. Thomas looking for a receiver, but he's just going to take this one on the run past midfield into BR territory, but that killed off about 10, 11 seconds. Maybe about a 4-yard pickup.
Take a look at the replay here. It looked like kind of an awkward tackle as Durfee's going to try and hurry it up here a little bit. They're already set.
Hand off to Hall. And we get a flag as Hall gets taken down at the 47-yard line or so.
Corey Ablon was the tackle.
They're either going to get a hold or a block here on Durfee. Yeah, it's going to be a hold on Durfee.
Call on the penalty is a Durfee hold. 10-yard penalty.
And because now, they're also discussing the 10-second runoff. Take a look. It's going to be on number 70 there, the big boy, Sage Paradis.
Ball will be on the 39-yard line of the Hilltoppers. 2nd and 20.
So 33 seconds to go on second down. The Trojans defense steps up. Potentially could have some offense for the Trojans, but now the clock starts to tick down to 25 seconds.
There's Johnson.
And Thomas gets taken down once again by Logan Johnson.
Logan Johnson just coming off the edge there. No answer for him right now.
Logan Johnson, number 87, on the sack.
Coach Brown's going to take his timeout now.
A 23-yard loss on the play.
18 seconds on the clock. 3rd and 30 for Durfee.
So far on this drive for Durfee, a holding call and a 23-yard sack.
So John, I think we're going to get the first one of the year. This is the third, as I like to say, third and no thank you. Or third in a cross-country trip.
Back the clock,
so the scoreboard, which is what you're seeing on the screen right now, it's linked to the scoreboard here. It says 4th down. The stick says 3.
And it is.
I mean, we got a 3rd and no thank you, or 3rd and a country mile. So it is 3rd and 30. But still, certainly not an enviable location for the Durfee Hilltoppers. Here's a handoff to Montero. Looking for some yardage and to kill off some clock. Get a timeout call from Dan Piaron at 15 seconds.
Let's see what the punch is here.
So a 4-yard gain for Montero. And Dan Brown burns his final timeout with 16 seconds to go.
Yeah, like I said, it depends on what this punt is. See if Bridgewater-Raynham can get any sort of threat to get into the end zone, maybe even, dare I say, field goal range to get some points on the board before going into the half. See if they can do the old Patriots method of doubling up, get some at the end of the first half, and see if you can start the second half with some points.
Started off the second quarter with quite the offensive outburst by both teams, but now it's just been a difficult time to get any positive yards on either side of the ball. So Ibrahimi and Morrison awaiting the punt at their own 37-yard line.
Give a quick shout out to the 48 people right now watching on YouTube. Whew. Wow.
Hall with a high kick.
Wow.
Down to 10 seconds. And Braheni is going to go down at the 31-yard line with 5 seconds to go. I think it's pretty academic as to what we'll see here, but crazier things have happened.
That was an NFL punt. That thing was a mile high and traveled. Wow. That's all I can say about that punt.
And we're going to get a Nolan DeAndre knee here to end the first half with Durfee up 12-7. And Brian, for the BR Trojans, this has been a couple of games here to kind of relearn the ropes, but still certainly some offensive congratulations for Anthony Morrison, who got his team on the board thanks to a 62-yard run.
Yeah, absolutely, but I want to give a congratulations to this defense. I know, yes, they're down 12-7, but this defensive line has actually done a pretty decent job here of trying to stop Jason Hall. It's not an easy task to try to stop that man, and they have done, I think, so far a good job. Even though he's got into the end zone twice, it's still just a 12-7 game. They've only given up really one big run to the guy, and it was a 54-yard run. Other than that, I mean, this defense, especially the secondary, has been lights out. The secondary has been lights out for this Trojans team, John.
So a 12-7 game. BR is going to get the opening kickoff for the second half, but right now we told you about a conversation that Brian Berard had with athletic director and head coach of the BR Trojans football team, Dan Buron. Let's take a look.
I'm joined now by Bridgewater-Raynham head football coach, Dan Buron. Coach, thank you for taking the time to do this interview.
Well, thank you for having me, Brian. I appreciate it.
All right, so the first few questions here, we'll just kind of get to know you a little bit. How has your life been affected by this coronavirus pandemic? How have you and your family been holding up so far?
We've been like everybody else. We've been, surviving and adapting. But no, we've been good. Fortunately, my wife and my son, we've all stayed healthy. Clearly, like everyone else, our lives have came to a screeching halt, and then slowly, you can figure out what you're doing. But it's been great. I think as difficult as it's been, it's also you kind of go back to the old days and having meals at home together, and instead of everybody going in a million different directions, and a lot of quality time. It's overall, I think it's been positive. I'm not saying I want to continue like this, but I try to see the positive. I try to walk every day. I was walking every day, and I go all over town. People saw me, and had to stay on the sidewalk. So some people were trying to get me, but and just seeing a lot of people like in the yard saying hello. It's like the other people are a lot more friendly, most of them anyways, but it was just good to see people, being creative of how to, with neighbors and stuff, and doing things. And I've also noticed people seem to be, not that they didn't do it in the past, but it seemed like helping out a lot more and pitching in and doing things for other people. So I think, we're all resilient, and we've all figured out how to survive, and it's getting better. This vaccination process, when finally they figure that out and get, a good chunk of us vaccinated, we should start seeing something. I don't know if we'll ever go back to the way it was, and maybe we shouldn't either. I mean, so you got to learn from this. But me personally, it's been great. So no complaints.
Yeah, there certainly is some silver linings, but yeah, not my favorite pandemic so far. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do another one. I certainly can't wait 100 years like the last one. So, but we're pros now at this. So we'll move into your role as athletic director. During this pandemic, how has your role been affected during this pandemic, doing all this scheduling? Most teams have been playing a conference-only schedule. If they do play out of conference, it's usually a very, neighboring town, very close town. How has your role as AD been affected during this pandemic? Oh, it's clearly been affected. I think that I'll go back to last spring when, we were changing schedules week to week, and finally they shut it all down. So then that was kind of a sobering blow, especially for the athletes. I mean, as adults, we survived, but then going into the fall, the unknown and the uncertainty, and when they finally allowed us to have a season, everybody was so excited, but there's a lot more administrative duties that go along with it, just practices and scheduling. So we've been averaging in all the sports that we've had so far about 60% of the games that we normally have. So I think that's great. I mean, and it's just good to see kids out playing and running around, because for a lot of them, that might be the only time they see their friends. If you're not in the same cohort, going to school, you don't see each other as often as you used to. So a lot more paperwork in terms of tracking, and then and instead of planning things out weeks or months at a time, it's all, literally, if you go out 1 week, that might be too far, because things can change in a day with, particularly, a student or even an adult comes in and gets COVID, and the close contact, the contact tracing, the sanitation, all the mitigation policies that were, to put in place. Not difficult, but just a little bit different, more time consuming, maybe different, but I think by now we're all of us as athletic directors and coaches are somewhat used to dealing with all this stuff. And we found the winter maybe a little bit more difficult because you were indoors at facilities, and now that we're back outside, it makes it a little bit easier, but you still, as a coach and an athletic director, you got to make sure that kids are wearing their masks, and even coaches, but making sure they're socially distant. You got to, as a coach, you set up practice a little bit different and try to be a little bit more creative. So than the old way of doing things. So, the old way of doing things in any sport is non-existent right now. But the actual games themselves are pretty much like the old days. There are some modifications. A football player has to wear a mask. I mean, soccer and all the other modifications. People complain when they first came out, but then you realize if you don't do those modifications, the only other option is don't play. So
right.
So this alternative is better than nothing.
Right. And all the sports, they don't have a state champion. They're just ending with a league championship pretty much. Do you think the kids are bothered by that, or do you think they're just glad to get out there and play?
I think the kids are just glad to get out there and play, and then just about every league in the fall and in the winter created their own little conference championships. In our league, we only have 5 teams. So we had the 4th and 5th ranked team based on records. Played like a playing game. Then we had 1 versus 4, 2. So, yep. And the kids really seem to enjoy that. We had a regular season, and you try to pick up a couple non-league games to fill out because everybody had a bye. So it worked well. I think the spring athletes, we all feel at the state that they should get some type of postseason because they lost it last year. So right. As far as the state championship is concerned, I mean, it sounds good, but after a sectional tournament, a regional tournament, you're really talking about, say in each division, 4 teams going to a state semifinal and 2 teams to the state final. So I think the mindset of most athletic directors is let's get more games for everybody. So it looks like we're going with a sectional tournament for the spring, and I think kids will enjoy that because I think there's something to shoot for. But we're all still trying to keep our league championships and maybe even a league conference intact because you're right. You mentioned a lot of leagues the larger leagues aren't going out of their league for non-league. They're doing crossovers within the divisions. Mm-hmm. The smaller leagues like the Southeast Conference, that's a little more difficult because we can't find non-league games like we used to. So, but I think the majority of kids don't get to, I mean, almost half the teams in the years past never got to a state tournament. So half the teams are done. So I think we're all trying to emphasize the regular season, league competition. Even as a coach, as a football coach, my main goal is to win a league, and then the playoffs is secondary. It's a goal, but you got to, always if we qualify for the tournament. But for the longest time in football, we had to win a league to get to the tournament. So that was your number one goal. You couldn't get to those other goals if you didn't achieve that first one. So I think the rivalries of a league is still there, and the kids, they tend to know the league opponents a little bit better. Yeah, it's nice at the end. I think sometimes it's the adults that want the state championships and things, or if you're a really good team, if you got a lot of kids coming back, I want to make that run for the state championship. If you've graduated a lot of people, you might, hey, I'd rather play, say 16 regular season games, just have, get my younger kids some experience for the future.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So bunch of different ways of looking at it, and we're not going to, no matter what we decide, we're not going to please everybody. But at the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's really not about the adults.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that the spring athletes finally, they get their season, because last year it got ripped away from them. And I can only just feel so bad for the seniors that they played in their last game their junior year and they had no idea that it was their last game. So I'm glad that they finally got their season.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I really feel bad for those seniors, and our seniors right now, they're getting something, and I think back in the fall when we were talking about fall sports, and some leagues were talking about pushing the soccer and field hockey and those sports off to this fall too. And I was adamant with our league, and thank God we did it. Let's get it in now, because we didn't know if this fall tour was even going to go. And I said, can you imagine if we didn't do it in the fall? So you just got to seize the opportunity when it arises, and looking back, maybe we could have done football, but you know what, we're doing it now and it's fine. It's different. And, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And you brought up football too. And of course, the MIAA, as you mentioned, did bring out fall 2 sports season. So teams that didn't normally get to compete in the fall get to do so in the spring. Before this fall 2 was announced, did it ever cross your mind that football may not even happen at all during the academic year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it crossed my mind just about every day. And I think that even the night before we started, I think so February 21st, I wasn't sure if I was going to wake up Monday morning, the first out of practice, and something had happened and they changed. So, yeah, I think that's one thing we learned early on, that nothing's guaranteed. So, I mean, like I said, so I think, me personally, and I think for the current seniors, going through that fall and like having weekends free, and for me, it's like 7 days a week from August through Thanksgiving, and really strange Thanksgiving morning, waking up and going for a walk, and I walked down the field here, and there's like, since my childhood, on Thanksgiving morning, I attended or played or coached in a Thanksgiving Day football game, and I just, you stop and think about the magnitude of that all across this state. And there were empty stadiums on Thanksgiving morning when they used to be chock full. So, and that's when the reality hit. And I said, geez, I hope for these kids' sake, of the seniors, that we can get a season in no matter what, even if we get one game in. It'll be, we went down and had a scrimmage last week, and it was so good our kids were so excited to go against another group of kids, a different, I think competition is great for the kids. So, Oh, yeah. I mean, that reality of not having a season hit hard for a lot of people, and I still say the underclassmen, hopefully the juniors, seniors, and sophomores on our team are going to have a season next year. I don't know what it'll look like. It may still be modifications, but some of these seniors, this is it for them. Piggyback to what you said. I mean, think about a senior baseball player or lacrosse player last year who may not play in college. That was going to be their last chance to get on the field. Right. So, I think it's really all about the kids. It should be about the kids all the time, but I'm really focused as a coach this year and for my seniors, to make sure that they, get the best experience they can get.
Yeah, right. It was truth there, to piggyback off your comment about Thanksgiving Day. I mean, all of us at BTV too, we were kind of wondering, like, what do we do now? We're used to getting up at 6 a.m. and setting up all of our equipment. And it was nice to sleep in. That was for sure. But it was definitely different not having Thanksgiving football this year.
I can remember where I was about 9 o'clock. I was out for a walk. I think I was on Summer Street, and Peter Colombo, the Brockton coach, called me and he said, hey, and it was beautiful at 9 o'clock. And I said, I was working my way back through town. I was going to go up by the field. I said, Peter, it would be a great day for football because it was warm. But right about 10 o'clock, when we would have been up at Brockton this year, but I don't know where you were, but I was down here on the field, and it came down in buckets. I'm like, oh, that was the one time I was glad I wasn't on a sideline, But we always talk about 2 years ago, nothing could be worse than how cold it was that day. But no, I would have much rather been soaking wet coaching a football game on a Thanksgiving morning than I got soaking wet anyways, just standing like a dummy. I was out there, No, that was a sobering, I guess the pandemic really hit, for the coaches and the players, when there was nothing going on that day,
Does the idea of spring football excite you, or do you rather have it in the fall?
Oh, I think it belongs in the fall. I always said years ago that they should play baseball in the fall and football in the spring because, we come out in the dead heat, try to get kids in shape with equipment on, and by the time we're in shape, it's cooler. You could flip it. And in baseball, they go out in the cold weather and start throwing baseballs and hurt their arms or whatever. Let them play all summer. But, I always say, play your last baseball game on Thanksgiving. We can play the last football game on Memorial Day, but that's never going to happen. No, Football belongs in the fall. I like the idea of this, maybe I don't think it'll ever happen. Like this could be like a spring practice, like they do in other states and they do in college. You could have a little wedge season here when the kids could, maybe limit it, and I'm this way off topic here, but I'm thinking outside the box.
Go ahead.
It would, I'm not doing this because I'm not coming back this year, but I've talked to some other coaches who really, they don't have a lot of seniors and they're underclass. They're gearing this short season. They're getting ready for next year already, And I mean, I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking at developing younger players for next year and but it will never happen where they would allow, spring. You wouldn't get the games. You might be able to get practices, but again, going back to it, it's great to be out here, but it needs to go back to the fall. I mean, it's just, there's some things that I don't think you can mess around with,
Yeah. And there's so many adjustments that you have to make now during this pandemic. What have been some of the biggest challenges for you preparing your football team? The kids have to stay 6 feet apart. Your team boxes have been expanded. What have been some of the challenges for you preparing your team during this pandemic?
Just those things you said, you got to try to, socially distance, try to keep them in small groups for instruction. God forbid if someone gets COVID and you don't do that and you're not organized, you could wipe out the entire team for a 10-day quarantine, So you have to be creative, and keep them socially distanced and they have their mask on. Then if someone does get it, you can say, hey, we have taken all the steps and almost even position-wise, you get into groups and you don't have all your starters in one group because you could lose a whole linebacking core, a whole offensive line if you're not careful. So, that's probably the toughest thing. And, water breaks now. Everybody brings their own water. They have to 6 feet apart. And, it's different, but the kids get used to it. I think kids adapt much more easier than the adults. They always have, and it's like, can't teach an old dog new tricks, and I'm an old dog, so it's hard. But the kids are young dogs, young pups, and they can adjust a lot more easily than I can. So if I can figure it out, they can figure it out. That's the way I look at it. Yeah.
I know you talked about this a little bit earlier too, but going back to the point of the no state champion, how do you prepare knowing that ultimate goal isn't there? Do you think it's going to be harder for the coaches, or do you think it's going to be harder for the kids to prepare knowing that the league or the season's just going to end with that league championship and no state title?
I mean, that's something you can't control. So, I mean, I think we all wish there was a state playoff and a state champion. But again, I'll go back to a lot of people never get there, So I think, again, kids are just grateful that 5 or 6 games and playing for a league conference championship is better than nothing. So, and, we've always we try to just focus 1 week at a time. And it's we're going down to Middleborough this week. That's the most important game on our schedule. And then, because again, I think we've all realized this already, that things the rug can be pulled out at any minute. So just take what's available to you at the time and appreciate it and relish it, because it can be taken away. So those other, can't worry about the things I can't control. I can't have. We know there's no state championship, so it's over. We've got to move on and just deal with the schedule that's in front of us.
I like it. And you mentioned this earlier. It is your final season at BR. What are your goals personally for your final season here at the regional?
Try to enjoy it a little bit more. I think in the last couple of years, I was always so focused, on the now, and now I'm starting to look back and, realize that what we've accomplished, all of us over the years here, players and coaches, and I've just been a small part of it. So to try to, I have some great memories. Been a lot of sacrifice and a lot of time and effort, but I wouldn't trade it. I mean, I think I've gotten more out of it than I put into it, and I put a lot into it. Trust me. But I'm really focused on the seniors. They're a great group of kids. I've always leaned on my seniors every year, no matter what. I think every coach does that, but this year in particular, because, like I say, we're going to Middleborough this week, and I hope we get 5 other games in, but it might be the only one. So it just appreciate what you have, I guess. I'm probably, I know I've been a little bit too difficult or too, I'm not sure what the right word is, too focused on the now and not really enjoying the big experience, and I think the last few years realizing that, football games are not just about wins and losses. It's about the personal experiences and So, reflection is easy, but saying that, I got to get to work for Middleborough. We're playing them tomorrow night. It's going to be a tough game. So, but I guess the life lessons, the kids are great. They've been awesome. The kids, the Bridgewater-Raynham kids, and I've worked at other schools a long time ago. The BR kids are unique. They work hard. They're great kids, so I just got to enjoy it, and realize that, hey, there's more serious things in life. I mean, the game for these kids is at the time is the most serious thing. It should be what they're focused on. But what we've all been through in the last year, whether we go 6-0 or 0-6, is really not going to change Dan Buren's life, and it's not going to change, Anthony Morrison's life or some of the other kids. But we're going to be faced with adversity. How you handle that, I think, prepares you for life. So we've all been dealt with a lot of adversity, and I think the football players can handle that because they have to. With me, I don't know. It's kind of corny, I guess I'm getting, but no, I just need to enjoy it and just realize that I've been a very fortunate guy to be able to coach at my alma mater and coach some great kids, a lot of them over the years. And probably I look back, the most proud thing is I look at kids now that I realize they're all grown men, but they're all very successful in life, and I see them in the communities raising families, and so that's probably, whether they ran for touchdowns or blocked well was great at the time. But hopefully we had a little, my staff and I have had a little help in developing them become good citizens. I don't know.
Oh, that's good. And lastly, the big question: any plans for life after BR?
Well, I hope I have a long life after BI. I'm retiring as an educator because of the retirement system. I'm not going, I'm not, going to be locked up in my house. I don't know. My wife might try to lock me up, but she'll take off without me. But no, I'm only kidding. No, I mean, it's like I say, everybody works hard, and I don't have any concrete plans as far as coaching or anything. I just, I'm retiring as an athletic director, from my full-time position at Bridgewater-Raynham, and I just personally don't believe I should stay on coaching football. I just think, and I'm not knocking people to do that. I think that's great, and I probably could. But it's time. It's time for someone as athletic director and football coach to come into Bridgewater-Raynham and replace me. And one thing I know. No one's irreplaceable. They're going to have football next year. They're going to have sports, and someone will, I say that to my football players all the time. We're going to play a game Friday night or Saturday with or without you. So if you don't want to do the right things in school or do the thing, and you don't want to follow the rules, life goes on. So, so the BR part of it, although I will, trust me, I'll follow it and keep, my eye on things and wish them well. I would love to coach football somewhere. I don't have to be a head coach. I really don't want to be a head coach. People don't realize being a head coach is a lot more difficult than it's. Everybody wants to be a head coach until you're a head coach. I wanted to be a head coach in the worst way, and now I was like, wow, just so many things. And unless you've done it, and I'm not talking just football, I'm talking any sport. Unless you've been a head coach, and I don't care if it's, youth basketball team or whatever, it's different because everybody is, pulling at you. So my best time as a coach is the 2 hours out on the field where I can just coach and there's no distractions, and I don't know if I could offer to some other program, just be a position coach and be, a sounding board for a head coach. Some of my best, I have a lot of assistants over the years that were former head coaches, and they've been awesome because you can, and not that the other assistants who weren't head coaches aren't awesome either. You bounce things off, and it's just experience, So I'll do something. I'm going to stay active. I really don't have. My wife and I will travel a little bit. I'm going to be okay. I have a painting business that I can expand that a little bit, and so any viewers out there, you need some. Paint job, give me a call. We'll give you a price, free estimates. But no, I'll be busy. I can't sit still. I'll be very active. And if I stay home, I would literally drive my wife crazy. And she's a great lady, and she's not going to put up with that. That's for sure. So I'll be fine. But thank you for asking.
Well, Coach, if you have time, we'd love to have you up in the booth at BTV calling some games.
I would love to do that. I did. I think I came down to the Bridgewater State game one time when we Mass Maritime, and
Yep.
I probably talked too much. You guys it took some airtime away from me, but yeah, I could give my perspective on things. It might not be, accurate, but it'll be, it's
Got to be more accurate than me.
Oh, you're pretty good. I got to give you credit. You and John Luck. John is a little more critical of me than you are, but no, you guys, Jeff and you and John, all the crew. I can't thank you guys enough for what you do for BR football, but for all BR athletics. You guys really, it's professionally done, and I look back, they were showing some of the classics there at Thanksgiving going way back. Just the technology has gotten so much better, and, what you guys can do, it's awesome. But there's a lot of people that can't get to a game nowadays. And, my mom, God rest, she's in a nursing home now, but, for the last couple of years, she couldn't get out to a game, and she looked forward to those, the cable broadcasts, and no, you guys have been great, and you guys just get you're doing the right thing. You're getting exposure for the kids, get them out there, and all your programs are great. It's very informational. So I have always said this: BR football, BR athletics. A guy named Bill Wilhelm down at WATD, you probably know that name, radio. He always said it: high school sports is the best bang for your buck. You're gonna maybe pay $5 to get into a BR football game, and see some great teams come in, or pay $5 to get into a basketball game. Mm-hmm. One thing about Bridgewater-Raynham is, in all the sports here, we're a Division I program. I know Division II in football now, but there's 8 divisions. So the league's always been competitive, but the non-league schedules here, we play some pretty good brand of sports here, and and there's no agendas. There's no contract negotiations. It's just kids playing for the love of the game, and coaches coaching hard, and it's well worth $5 or $3 for a student to get in and see some great events over the years. I look back at that too as just a teacher and coach and AD. I've been blessed, going to the Garden, going the state baseball championships. Even our fans in this community, both communities have been so supportive of athletics, and like I said earlier, I've been blessed. It's been a great ride for me. But it's now time to hand it over to somebody else, and it'll continue here. It's like I said earlier, no one's irreplaceable, but you guys do a great job. Can't thank you guys enough.
Well, we thank you for the high praise of BTV, and Coach, thank you so much for your time to do this interview. Really appreciate it.
Anytime. I always like a little get my face. Nick Silver and I used to do the news, right? And a few years back, you should pull up some of those old clips. Those were classics. And hey, I can't end this show without thanking my director of football operations, Mr. Nick Sylvia. I've had a good run with Nick. He's an awesome man. He should be if there's ever a mayor of Bridgewater, it would be Nick Sylvia, because everybody knows Nick, and he has been my, talk about a right-hand man. He's always been by my side, and he is a good man, and there's nobody that lives and dies for BR Athletics more than Nick Sylvia. So if I could give a shout out to Nick and thank him, again, there's been a lot of good people behind the scenes. My name's up there like with the football, and I get the credit. I also get the blame, but there's so many other people that behind anything that I've been very fortunate that they let me kind of steer the ship. I've, probably got off course a little bit every now and then, but I got a lot of great people behind me, in my athletic department, Miss Rourke and the administration, Miss Water, they've been very great. They kind of steer me back. And then, at home, like I mentioned, my wife, Leslie, and my son, I have great family support. And all the coaches here, the head coaches, I know I'm probably going overboard here, but all the head coaches here at Bridgewater, the other sports, they're good people, and they're just easy to manage, and my job's, in that regard has been easy, because it's just, I'm working with great people every day. I probably haven't appreciated that enough over the years, and I got to start realizing that, so.
Welcome back to the regional, as Durfee has a 12-7 lead. You've just been watching an interview with Brian Berard and the head coach of the BR Trojans, and the athletic director of Bridgewater-Raynham Regional High School, Dan Buron. You can check out the full interview. Just go on to the BTV Access Corporation YouTube page. I believe it's also on Facebook, but you can also watch it on Channel 9 coming up over the next few days. But still a very informational conversation. Just to update what they were talking about in that piece, Brian, there is going to be state championships coming up here for the spring sports.
Yeah, and as I said to them, it was great because last spring they got their season ripped away from them, and the people I feel the worst for were, the seniors, that were coming into last year, and that was their last chance to get onto a softball field or a baseball field or to a lacrosse field and play their final game, because we talk about this so many times, John, when we cover a senior day event. Some of the players don't go on to play in college, and the last time you really get to put a uniform on is in high school, and they got that ripped away from them. And I just feel so bad for the seniors, and Coach Buron said that too. I mean, it was your last chance to put on a uniform, and it's your last chance, even if you do want to play in college, it's your last chance to really show that you belong on a college team, and you got that ripped away from them. So, I mean, it's great that they get a state championship this year. I guess that's the silver lining, but I can only feel so bad for the seniors last year.
And we did talk a little bit about this in the first half, but we didn't get to it in the interview about Dan Buron. After this season, he does still have some interest in taking part in the game and won't be here with regional as a head coach, but he doesn't want to leave the game that he's been a part of for 30-plus years.
Yeah, he's when you said, too, he wants to still coach, doesn't want to be a head coach. It's a tough gig to have. And he said everyone wants to be a head coach until they actually have the job and they realize how difficult it is. He wants to be a coordinator or be some sort of advisor to another coach, and that's great. You have this love for this sport, and you still want to teach young minds and mold these young players into a successful college athletes. And let's not forget, Coach Buron had a player that was drafted in the NFL and had a rather successful career in the NFL in Mark Colombo, an offensive lineman, played for the Bears, played for the Dolphins and the Cowboys. He had a lot of players go Division I. You had Bryce Shaw, went to the Naval Academy, John. So the fact that he still wants to stick around and teach these young players is amazing.
And I think if you talk to any one of the players, both current and who played for Dan Buron in the past, I think some of the things that you can take away from him is what he does for you off the football field. I guess he's been there to kind of give life lessons, to talk to players about real-life things. And they've even pointed out that because of him, he's helped them grow up as both people and players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of former players that he's tough love, emphasis on the love. A lot of times he can be hard to play for, but, he just wants the best out of you, and he's going to bring stuff out of you that you didn't know that you had. And, John, you should be proud of me, too, when I mentioned that, Mark Colombo. Didn't mention where he went to play college football, Didn't mention Doug Bissett and where he went to play college football, too, so I left that off the table.
I think you're trying to get in your own head a little bit. I feel like maybe 3-4 hours before the game, you tried to scrub as much BC talk out of your head as possible.
And let's not forget, Doug Bissett was a remarkable player. He was the state player of the year when he was here at Bridgewater-Raynham. He went on to be a safety at Boston College in the Big East, John, before they joined the ACC.
Big part of when BR beat Brockton as we kick off the second half. Short kick that's going to go to the hands of number 6, Daniel Francis, who gets met up at the 31-yard line by the Durfee defense.
Yeah, a little pooch kick. It really prevents anyone from getting a return on that. It was a good job. He only got maybe 1 or 2 yards on it. Got up to the 31-yard line.
So here comes the BR Trojans offense out to the field. Nolan DeAndre, a couple of incomplete passes. Anthony Morrison, however, 98 yards all-purpose and a 62-yard run in the first half. He's certainly been the catalyst for the BR offense this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. He certainly has. And, the only time really Durfee's been able to stop him is they try to run up the middle. I try to see, hopefully they do a little bit more of those pitch plays that they were able to do so successfully in the first half.
Here is the pitch to Morrison, looking for some space on the edge across the 35-yard line up to the 37.
Tackle on the play, number 6, Jaden Lewis.
Maybe a pickup of about 6 or 7 on the play.
See, there's those pitch plays. It looked like it was going to be stuff for maybe 1 or 2 yard gain, and you see the replay here. Uses his speed, gets to the outside, lowers the shoulder a little bit, gets an extra yard. Pretty good, 6-yard run, brings up 2nd and 4.
And we don't have the exact time, but you have to imagine Durfee had a good advantage in the time of possession in the first half, going back to the first scoring drive.
Yeah, absolutely. That first scoring drive took just under 7 minutes in that second quarter. It was a combination of the first and second quarters.
Payton went to the far side. Morrison wraps up, tried to get a couple of bonus yards, but they're going to call him down at the 39-yard line. Going to be a 2-yard pickup.
Tackle for Durfee, number 10, Nigel Matero.
As the senior running back now goes over 100 yards, all-purpose. On third down, the give is to Michael Rubo. Gets his first carry of the day.
There goes a quick hitter to the fullback. Bridgewater-Raynham did that so many times with Bryce Shaw, and it was so successful. Right again here from Rubo.
First and 10 for Bridgewater-Raynham from the round 43.
Come up on 2 minutes gone in the third quarter. The pitch goes to Morrison. He goes to the far side now across midfield, across the 45. First down and a lot more. The ball does come out, rolls out of bounds. And we get a flag here.
That was quickly picked up. I think the ref was going to throw the blue bean bag there for the fumble. Take a look at the replay again. Here's that pitch play. Get the blocks downfield, finds the hole, shakes off a few tacklers. Just won't go down. Got popped out, goes out of bounds though, so luckily it stayed there for Bridgewater-Raynham.
Bridgewater-Raynham.
28-yard run there for Morrison.
That last run by Morrison, 28 yards.
On first down, Brahini on the near side for the BR offense.
And they get a jump there from Durfee.
Appears to be against Durfee for offside.
I would say this number is 65.
5-yard penalty.
Wafik Elakis? Elakis?
Raynham on the 24.
Walfick Elakis. Here we go, John. We say this is the third quarter drive from Bridgewater-Raynham.
Drive that has lasted 2 minutes and 7 seconds, brings up a 1st and 5. Trojans going from the Durfee 24. The pitch is to Morrison. Morrison has just put BR back in front.
24-yard run. And again, I keep saying it, John. It's that pitch play. Orison, he finds that hole. He just flows right through. We take a look at the replay here, and you get the blocks downfield, and there's no one accounted for, and he has a wide open lane to the end zone.
Second touchdown of the day for Anthony Morrison. This one from 24 yards out. And here comes Owen Green, looking to make the lead 2 for BR. And it's blocked. Blocked by Jaden Anthony Lewis, so it's a 1-point game with 8:46 to go in the third.
Score remains a 1-point lead for Bridgewater-Raynham.
Yeah, it came right off the edge there, too, completely unblocked.
Just from the eyesight here, it looks like Durfee easily has the height advantage on the BR Trojans altogether.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one, John. A lot of big guys on that sideline there for Durfee. But as you've seen a lot of times from Bridgewater-Raynham, a good play call can completely negate that. If you're running back with the speed of Anthony Morrison, that can also negate that. We've seen that on 2 big runs from him.
Morrison, I have him down for 139 yards today. Again, that's after a 190-yard effort a week ago in Middleborough.
Yeah, we'll go with the official John Luck stat.
I feel so honored coming from the all-star reporter of Max Preps.
And we can officially say that that drive took a little over 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 10 seconds, I believe. If I did my math right, which could also be wrong.
We'll go by the Brian Berard count. This is Lewis going north to south here, and now Lewis on the far sideline. This is where the BR Trojan special team has had a couple of issues today because Durfee's special teams has continued to spot the offense with some favorable spots.
Yeah, these kickoff returns here for Durfee, you should be a little bit concerned if you're Coach Dan Buron. You know, a lot of times if you're giving a player like Jason Hall a short field, it's not going to be an easy game to win. And again, it's just the sidelines. Nothing's up the middle. They go to the sidelines. They have a lot of daylight there, and they run and take it. And look at this. Now you have a short field, a 55-yard field here for Durfee if they go in for the touchdown.
Well, on the last touchdown by Morrison in the first half, Jason Hall got a touchdown in 2 plays. Here's the give once again to Hall. He's going to get stalked, gets past midfield up to the 49 for about a 6-yard gain.
If you're Durfee, that's what you want. You know, Bridgewater-Raynham, it's got a little bit of momentum here. You get a nice big chunk of yards there on first down, brings up 2nd and 4. If you get a first down here, you know you get the momentum to start going back into your favor. It's going to be a game of momentum. Kind of feels like right now how this game's playing, it's whoever has the ball last, John, that might win.
Jason Hall, 106 all-purpose yards.
And when I say by win, I mean in regulation.
Split receivers, Medina on the near side. The give is to Montero, gets the first down and a lot more yards after that, up to the 20.
I think he tripped over himself there.
Out of the 21-yard line, but still, that's a 29-yard pickup.
Yeah, some excellent blocking up front there, got some holes, got into the secondary, did some nice shifty moves. Again, I think he just tripped on himself there because if he didn't, that was a touchdown easily for him.
Montero, 39 yards today. But last season, it was his defense that made him such an important player for the Hilltoppers. Had 101 tackles in 2019, but certainly put the Hilltoppers in some good position here in the third quarter. Hall with a nice spin off his defender, but he's going to get about a yard or so, or rather a few yards.
Tackle on the play, number 31. Corey Allen.
Corey Abelard with the stop of Hall to bring up 2nd and 5.
Really was a nice spin move there from Hall. If he didn't, and that would have been easily 1 or 2 yards, but that spin was able to get him a 5-yard gain.
Hall with a stiff arm there across the 15. He's going to be stopped by Anthony Morrison, but still, Jason Hall is just playing with people at this point.
You take a look at the replay right here. It was a pretty good job there from Andrew Donetto to get right through, but Jason Hall said, not so fast, my friend. Stiff arm to the face. Brings up 3rd and manageable.
Lewis and Ginty on the near side. And there's a 3rd and 2 coming up here inside of 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Thomas hands off to Montero. And Montero will bring it to the 10-yard line for the first down.
It's a nice methodical drive right here. Taking just a little over 3 minutes here for Durfee to slow this game down just a little bit. Seems like Bridgewater-Raynham's offense was trying to speed it up, and now Durfee wants to slow it down a little bit. Picks up another first down, their second first down here, 6th play of the drive coming up.
Durfee going split receiver look here. Again, Hall in the backfield, and he gets the ball on first down. Up to the 7.
Tackler for Bridgewater-Raynham, number 32, James Holland.
Take a look at the replay here. This is actually a very good tackle that you see. Just a solo tackle, go right after the legs.
James Holland with the stop. They bring up a 2nd and goal.
Second and goal.
As time continues to tick down. A little bit of trickery here. Montero up the middle. Going to pick up a couple of yards. And Brian, this is an offense in Durfee that likes to run a lot, and we've seen them eat a lot of clock up. It kind of reminds you a little bit of some of the classic BR offense that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen this so many times from Coach Buron. You have a big-bodied running back like you do of Jason Hall. I don't know if Bridgewater-Raynham's had someone as big as Jason Hall. I mean, maybe Doug Bissett back in the day. And I know they've had some big running backs here at BR. But when you have a big guy like that and you just keep chewing up clock and chewing up yards and keep moving the ball, you can really slow down a game.
On 3rd and goal. Thomas faked the handoff, and now he's in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, you got to finish the tackle there.
A deep drop here and a big stop.
Should have been stopped towards that far sideline. It almost looked like, I couldn't see the number, but it looks like he kind of just gave up on the play. We'll take a look at the replay here. This passing game has just not looked so good here. Looks like 82, that's Devin O'Leary. Probably could have had him stop towards that far sideline at the beginning, but luckily enough for the Trojans, they had a lot more guys coming in pursuit. Brings up a 4th and goal from where you really shouldn't have a 4th and goal.
Michael Rupo with a huge, huge stop.
Usually not a good thing if you have a goal-to-go situation outside of the red zone, from what I can see.
That's truly a 4th and no thank you. And that's going to make Durfee call a timeout here. Taylor Brown going to examine his options because really there's no right option. Obviously, if you had a 4th down inside the 10, it maybe makes things a little easier.
Yeah, this is a tricky one because this secondary for Bridgewater-Raynham has been lights out all afternoon. You almost wonder if you, try some sort of trickery right here almost with Jason Hall and see if you can get Bridgewater-Raynham to bite on something. But still, a 4th and goal from the 21-yard line, I don't think you really practice this one too many times in practice.
At the very least, you can play the field position game as well. If you pick up 11 yards, then you have BR takeover on downs at the 10. So a little bit of silver lining here with this play call if you do get some positive yards at the very least.
Yeah, absolutely. Try to get anything just to create even longer field here for Bridgewater-Raynham.
I was talking about the one-sided history between these two teams between 2007 and 2012. I think there was one game that was within 2 possessions, and it looks like this is going to start bucking that trend.
Don't speak so soon. The famous words of Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friend. I just need the pencil. I got the pen. I just need the pencil. Yeah, but you're right, John. This just has the feeling it's going to be a close game. As I said, it almost feels like whoever has the ball last in regulation is going to win this game.
So right now they have Jason Hall, looks like in a slot position at receiver.
Maybe trying to use his height, see if they can just throw up a little fade for him, see if he can get a pass interference. You know he's going to look towards him. Yep, looks to the left, tries to throw off the receiver. Oh, nice play, though.
Nice stop there, and I think that's Morrison that knocked it away.
Indeed, Anthony Morrison right there. Yeah, you saw Isaiah Thomas look to the left, try to look off the safety to get everyone to go to the left side of the field, and take a look at the replay here. He's looking to the left, and he goes back to the right at the last second. Tries to throw something up for him, and Anthony Morrison comes by and just swats it away.
That was Hunter Darer who was covering Jason Hall. So a big defensive stop there for the Trojans. They take over on downs with 2:21 to go in the third quarter, looking to add on to their 1-point lead. And for the BR Trojans offense, Brian, this has been a day predicated on the pitch.
Yes, on the pitch play. Even though this, for soccer, this is the pitch.
Yeah, play on words.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I go with it. Champions League's going on right now. I like it. My Man City moved on in the Champions League. Wondering how Manchester United. Ooh, forgot. Weren't in it.
Don't forget, Brian, this is being streamed on YouTube live, so.
Oh, no, we just have a big Manchester United fan in the truck.
You also have to wonder if they're actually listening and paying attention.
Probably not.
Yeah. Pitch play goes to Morrison, and Morrison will pick up a couple of yards. They'll call him down at the 26-yard line.
Tackle on the play.
So you see these pitch plays again for Bridgewater-Raynham, and Durfee is, they're preventing the 20-yard run on it. Got 4 yards on that carry there for Anthony Morrison. If you keep doing it, stretch out that defense. That run up the middle should start to work.
Pick up 3 yards on the last play.
I believe there have only been 6 plays today that have had over 10 or more yards between both teams. Handoff straight up the middle. That's Rubo out to the 29 for the 3-yard gain.
Yeah, you thought that pitch was coming once again, but it's a quick hitter to Rubo. Take a look at the replay here. The run up the middle. See, again, you start to stretch out that defense. They think that this is going to start moving laterally, and those runs up the middle start to get a little bit more and more.
And as far as any potential passing plays go, just to point out here, the wind is going from right to left across the screen. So right now, if DeAndre were to throw, he'd be throwing against the wind. Brahimi on the near side. They go to Morrison on the pitch, and he goes to the left side of the field. He's going to get the first down by a couple of yards. A 6-yard gain for Morrison.
There it is, just methodical from BR. Just go left to right, left to right. You got a lot of these hilltoppers moving vertically. Rely on Anthony Morrison to find the open hole.
Should be the final play of this third quarter coming up for the BR offense. As again, they'll go with Rubo and Morrison in the backfield.
I think they got Durfee to jump yet again. They did.
Penalty flag on the play. Neutral zone infraction against Durfee. That will give Bridgewater-Raynham the first down. First and 5.
And the final seconds tick off after the 5-yard penalty, so BR has a First and 5 to open the fourth quarter of play, and they also have a one-quarter lead, 13-12, here in the Trojans' home opener.
Slow-moving drive. That was there's only 2 completed drives in that third quarter there, and Bridgewater-Raynham's on their third drive here of the second half. Bridgewater-Raynham there. First drive in that third quarter ended in a 24-yard touchdown run for Morrison, and Durfee had a turnover on downs on the 4th and goal from the 21-yard line. But there's that third quarter drive that we say from Bridgewater-Raynham. Takes up a lot of times, and Durfee, with how their offense going, take up a lot of times. So really slow down that third quarter.
Game that has been all about the run, as Anthony Morrison and Jason Hall going back and forth here on this afternoon.
So that last penalty was the 5th penalty on Durfee on the afternoon.
At some point, those penalties are really going to hurt, because at the end of the first half, they had, I believe it was a holding call, and then they had a 23-yard sack of Isaiah Thomas.
Only 3 penalties for Bridgewater-Raynham in comparison.
First and 5.
As you see the BR offense run out to open up the fourth quarter, once again with a 1-point lead. That's the motion man. DeAndre going to pass this one, and it's going to be caught by Daniel Francis for the first completion of the day for Nolan DeAndre.
That was a good pass right here from DeAndre. Good play action. Got a few guys there from Durfee to bite on it. Put it right in between the numbers. Able to get one guy to miss and get an extra few yards to get up to the 40. That was a 21-yard gain there for the Trojans.
Thank goodness you said that.
You know, a lot of people, they just rely on my math.
I wouldn't go that far, but Anthony Morrison,
He'll go that
he
far.
has some math. He has some yardage. He has a third touchdown. Anthony Morrison, a 40-yard touchdown run, and he just continues to add on this opening day for the BR Trojans at home.
I don't know how many times I can say it, John. That pitch play, you just got to rely on him to find the hole, and he does. It's been working perfectly for the Trojans so far today.
So right now it's a 7-point game.
Beyond will be going for 2 on the extra points.
Looking to make this a 2-possession game now. DeAndre gonna pass, and it's going to be intercepted. Intercepted by Ronald Jeanty. But nonetheless, the Trojans have a 7-point lead with 10:21 to go in the fourth quarter.
Take a look. I couldn't quite see there who he was intending that pass for. May have been James Holland. I think you're right. A little bit behind him, though.
So for Durfee now, maybe a little bit easier as far as coaching goes. Of course, Durfee has to get into the end zone, but makes that PAT situation a little bit easier if you are Taylor Brown.
Yeah, as you said, John, no, it's the 7-point lead. I mean, it seems like the touchdown's the easy part here for Durfee. That extra point, not so much. We've seen that too over the past several years, and especially at the NFL rank. That extra point can get a little interesting, especially for good old friend Steven Gostkowski.
Number 6, Jaden Lewis.
Strong kick. Lewis from his own 11.
Trying to find that far sideline.
And Lewis is going to find a bunch of BR defenders and his teammates getting in his way.
Yeah, it's the first time really on special teams that the Trojans have been able to stop the Hilltoppers from getting a huge gain. And he was trying to find that far sideline, and he couldn't find it. You take a look here on the replay. That wedge just completely broke down.
Kyle Perry with the initial stop, and I think it was finished off by Francis. So I think that's Durfee's worst starting position of the day.
You are correct, my friend.
Here's Hall. Gets a hole. And Hall gets in the second layer of the BR defense across the 30 to the 32-yard line.
Excellent tackle there from Anthony Morrison. Now, originally he went to go tackle him up high. Take a look at the replay. He goes to tackle him up high and then eventually works his way down to his legs.
It's about a 16-yard gain for Hall. ACO in the backfield along with Thomas, who's in the shotgun. And we're going to get a stoppage here, a flag.
False start on Durfee.
Appears to be a false start on Durfee. 5-yard penalty. It'll be first and 15. From the 20.
Durfee really shooting themselves in the foot here, especially in the second half with these penalties, John.
And even going back to halfway through the second quarter, it's been one step forward, two steps back, because the first quarter, Durfee was truly in control. Of course, they were on offense for a big bulk of that first quarter.
It's their third penalty this half.
Handoff to Montero. I think Montero got tripped up. He's going to pick up a couple yards, brings up a second and about 12.
It is. Oh, went to the left side. And it's that left side of that offensive line just couldn't hold up.
James Holland was the tackler on the play.
Holland called with the stop, and we approach 8.5 minutes to go, and if we start using that idea you talked about, how it's going to be the last team with the ball that wins the game, all of a sudden the clock could play a big factor in these coaches' decisions.
Yeah, especially this is a team like Durfee. They've really only had one drive, and it was thanks to a 54-yard run by Jason Hall. For the most part, this has been a team that's just been methodical and moving the ball down the field, especially on the ground.
Hand off to Hall, and he almost got stopped behind the line of scrimmage. He's still on his feet. Nobody can stop Jason Hall into BR territory. Still on his feet and bounds, and Hall up to the 10, down at the 6.
I'd say that was a pretty good run. I thought he stepped out of bounds a couple of times, but still a darn good run by Hall. That was just one of those runs where nothing was going to stop that man. I mean, there's one missed tackle so far on the play. There's two missed tackles on the play. He just keeps going down the sideline. We're going to see the third missed tackle on the play. How he didn't step out of bounds right here is beyond me. There's 4 missed tackles. Finally takes the 5th attempt here at a tackle and gets a little help. Logan Johnson, the one that almost had him drop for a loss, was the one that finally ran all the way downfield to stop him at the 6-yard line.
I believe Hall is close to 200 yards rushing. This is going to be, I think, Montero taking it through the middle, shy of the goal line, up to the 1.
Number 59, Kevin Thrasher made the tackle on the play.
That was a 63-yard run from Jason Hall down to the 6-yard line.
Second and goal.
Thrasher with the stop on that last play.
Assisting on the tackle was Corey Avalon.
Rather corrected now to Corey Avalon. Brings up a 2nd and goal inside of 7 minutes to go. A botched snap, but nice heads-up play by Thomas, jumping on the ball before, I think that was 44, who would have gotten the fumble recovery there, Hunter Dara.
Loss on the play.
The snap was a little bit off to the left, but still, Thomas should have been able to handle that one. Now that brings up a 3rd and goal from the 6.
That was actually James Holland who could have had a shot at recovering a fumble. But still, this is probably one of the biggest plays of the game coming up here for the BR Trojans.
That's what do you do here on 3rd and 6 if you're Durfee? Your passing team hasn't done anything so far. Load up that backfield and see if you can find a hole here for Jason Hall. I think that's going to be the trick here that Taylor Brown's going to try.
They give us to Hall, parts the Red Sea, spins up to the 2-yard line.
The 1-yard line.
You got to go for it.
Anthony Wallison was on the tackle.
A pickup of 4.
Nice show up from Morrison on that trip there. Yeah, if you're Durfee, you have to go for this. You're down at the 2-yard line. And you see how Bridgewater-Raynham has been able to move the ball here in the second half. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for the Trojans here in the second half. You have to go for it, John.
And Jason Hall has scored from 3 yards out and 1 yard out. Right now it's a 4th and goal from the 2.
I think everyone in the world knows who's getting this ball right now.
Biggest play of the game defensively for the Trojans here at 5:41 to go. Stopped at the goal line is Jason Hall, and the BR defense comes up strong.
And like I said, everyone in the stadium knew who was getting the ball. You couldn't see it on that replay there, but you even saw the defensive back for the Trojans. They left the receiver wide open on the near sideline. They knew they weren't even going to try to attempt to throw that ball. And I don't know if Isaiah Thomas has the ability to audible out of a play or not in this system, but if he did, he had a wide open receiver on the bottom of the screen.
Certainly a play that Taylor Brown will look at and practice over the next week. James Holland on the stop. And now with 5:37 to go, BR comes out on offense, but still, it's worth noting the offense is going to start from their own 2-yard line, so I think that maybe takes that pitch play out of the playbook for the first couple.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you have to get a high percentage play that, even though the pitch plays worked out so well, it can still go so wrong if the throw is off, it gets tipped, or if Morrison even drops it. I don't think he will, but still, there's so many things that can go wrong right here. A simple handoff is probably going to be your best bet, but again, Durfee knows that. They're going to load the box. They're going to make sure that you can't run up the middle. But John, here you go. 2 drives here for Durfee in the second half. Both turnover on downs. And the 2 drives, as we mentioned, for Bridgewater-Raynham, 24-yard touchdown run for Morrison and a 40-yard touchdown run for Morrison.
So it appears halftime is going to be when this game changed over. As in the first half, it was Durfee controlling the clock, controlling the pace, controlling the game, and now BR has just turned the tide.
No, John, if they're able to get a few yards here on first down, I wouldn't rule out a pass play on second down here. I think at this point, Durfee is expecting, those pitches to the outside.
So again, easily the worst starting field position for the BR Trojans offense, but still with 5:37 to go. Still got a ball game on our hands. Anthony Morrison breaks through the defense of Durfee up to the 16-yard line for a pickup of 14.
Or just, keep running up the middle. Keep doing that. Look at that. I mean, he seemed like there was nothing there, and he did an excellent job to get his left hand down on the turf to keep himself up to get a 15-yard gain.
On that last play, number 7 made the tackle, Ronnie Gently.
That's Jaden Anthony Lewis down on the field right now. It looks like it may be a cramp situation, but nonetheless, they will. Or I may be completely wrong. I'm not a doctor. I'm merely just a play-by-play guy.
It happens. It happened to Tony Romo. Yeah, I mean, again, like just going back to that run there from Anthony Morrison, running up the middle, especially in the early part of this game, really didn't do so well. And it's excellent that we see Jaden Anthony Lewis getting up and walking off the field under his own power. But going back to that run, John, as I said, especially in the beginning of the game, running up the middle really wasn't working. But once Bridgewater-Raynham really started using those outside pitches and stretching out that defensive line, those runs up the middle have been starting to work out better and better for the Trojans. You just saw right there a 15-yard gain and an excellent job from Anthony Morrison to even stay up to get those extra 4 or 5 yards. And now you have a lot of breathing room here if you're the Trojans.
First and 10 for the Trojans on their own 17-yard line.
5:31 to go. The clock winds down on first down for the Trojans. Right now, it's all about killing off as much clock as possible in a game that has been back and forth through the first 3+ quarters.
Back judge still does a hand down.
Pitch to Morrison.
Morrison, the ball carrier.
About a 6-yard pickup now across the 20 up to the 23, 24-yard line.
And the big thing here for the Trojans is just stay in bounds at all costs. You want to keep this clock moving.
Pickup of about 6. 5-yard pickup, 2nd and 5.
As Nolan DeAndre comes out for the play call. You have to wonder here for the BR Trojans, is this the offense that you're going to continue going out with here as far as Anthony Morrison getting all the pitch plays that we saw as BR is going to call a timeout with 4:18 to go?
On the field.
Coach Bureau not happy with something. But yeah, John, going back to your question, yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, this running attack, it's been working so well for Coach Bureau throughout his entire career here at Bridgewater-Raynham. And you just saw here, it got them from out of the 1-yard line, and those pitch plays going left and to the right. It's been working out perfect for the Trojans here. I don't know if they've even had one negative play on that pitch play so far today.
So far, I've only counted 2 negative plays altogether for the BR Trojans. They were just 1-yard losses.
We'll go with the official stat there.
I'm trying to be the official statistician, make you proud.
Hey, put it on the resume. Put it on that LinkedIn profile, too.
That's a lot of work. So again, the Trojans have Rubo and Morrison in the backfield. 2nd and 4 with 4:18 to go. Morrison gets it, and Morrison almost broke free across the 40 to the 44-yard line. And that's certainly not the defensive plays Durfee was hoping for.
No, a 20-yard gain there for Anthony Morrison, right up the middle, too. Now these runs up the middle, they're starting to work out here because you're expecting that pitch play, and you're anticipating it, so you're going to start leaning to the left, start leaning to the right. And so that way you can get into the open field. But now up the middle is wide open, and Bridgewater-Raynham is exposing that right now on the Durfee defensive line.
Inside of 4 minutes now. Time they go with a pitch play, and it pays off as Morrison's going to be a couple yards shy of the first down, but into Durfee territory after the 49.
Kelvin Strong, tackler on the play.
And I believe that was Logan Johnson there too on the block that allowed that big run.
On the 48-yard line of Durfee.
An 8-yard pickup for Morrison. Trojans going to go on the road next week, take on the New Bedford Whalers, and close out their brief 2-game home schedule on April 3rd against Dartmouth. Handoff up the middle to Rubo. Gets the first down. Pickup of about 5 yards or so for the junior running back.
5 plays for the Trojans on this drive, 3 first downs.
Tackled by Montero. It will be first down for Raynham on the 44-yard line of Durfee.
Again, now under 3 minutes here, and just keep running that clock, running that ball. I mean, Durfee hasn't shown anything, especially in this fourth quarter, that they plan on stopping it.
BR can take this down to about 2.5 here before the snap. Pitch to Morrison. Couple blocks, and he'll get a couple of yards on the pickup. Brings up a 2nd and 8. Get timeout here by the Durfee Hilltoppers.
I just want to try and slow this game down, try to preserve any sort of clock. I mean, it's 2nd down and 8. If you can get a stop here, brings up 3rd and 8. It's a passing situation. There's only been 1 completed pass for each team so far on the afternoon. Durfee's certainly not out of this. Bridgewater-Raynham's trying to run as much clock as they possibly can, but Durfee certainly is not out of this one, John. If they get a stop here and they can get a stop on 3rd down, you know, they have the ability to score big, quickly on big plays. We've seen Jason Hall with some big runs so far, over 50 yards, over 60 yards so far. So it's certainly not over.
Hall today had a 54-yard run, a 63-yard run, and as you mentioned, he's probably getting close to the 200-yard mark altogether.
Well, that would be the stat that you have to come up with.
Unfortunately, the phone that I do math with is in the truck. Yeah, you hate to see that.
It happens.
As we resume play, Bridgewater-Raynham has a 2nd down, 8 yards to go for the first down.
So now with 2:21 to go.
On the 42-yard line.
The BR faithful getting behind their team. Hand off to Morrison, and Morrison is going to get the first down. This will take us to under 2 minutes to go in the fourth.
Take a look at the replay here. Yeah, that was Montero. Had a little bit of an opportunity to get Morrison in the backfield, but Morrison was just too quick for him to get through there and got the first down. That's huge for BR because now they're going to snap this ball with under a minute 50 left here in this fourth quarter.
It's been about clock management in this fourth quarter for the BR Trojans, as Rubo is going to take this one about a yard shy of the first down, so a nice 9-yard gain for the running back. Kelvin Strong with the stop. With a minute 39 to go, we get a timeout taken by the Hilltoppers.
Minute 39 left in the contest.
If I'm mistaken, I believe Durfee only has 1 timeout remaining after this one.
Durfee has 1 timeout left.
Now at this juncture, we can kind of look back at the game that was here for the BR Trojans. Granted, there's still a minute 39 to go, and a lot can change. but the complementary styles, or the complementary sides of each ball here. The defense helping out the offense and getting some favorable spots. And also coming up big, keeping Durfee out of the end zone, especially on that big 4th down stop on the 2.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And this drive right here has taken up 4 minutes in the 4th quarter. And the interesting thing about this drive, Trojans have yet to have a 3rd down on this drive so far. Only 1st and 2nd down coming up here on the 9th play of this drive. So moving the ball on the ground. I mean, there was an opportunity there for Durfee to maybe get something with a 2nd and 8 there. But still, I mean, you went to Morrison, you go to Rubo, you're going back to Morrison. You don't even know who's getting the ball now if you're Durfee. I mean, it was a good, balanced offensive running attack here from Coach Buron and staff of the Trojans.
2nd and 1. This is probably going to be Durfee's biggest play defensively. A pitch to Morrison. That's done them in all day, so that should put a capper on it. 1st down for Michael Rubo.
The 5th first down. 5th first down. That's a hard one to say.
I screwed up too. That was Anthony Morrison on the play. Sorry.
Yeah, the 5th first down here for the Trojans. And again, it's pretty much every other play on this drive has been a 1st down for the Trojans. That is how you chew clock.
And we'll get a couple knees here. It gives us a chance to point out everybody that you aren't hearing right now, as we have Jeff Fowler, Dick Fowler, Mark Dean all on camera. In the truck we have Mike Moriello, Mary Evers, and then you got us.
and then us. That's probably the best introduction I've ever had in my entire life. And then us. Of course, John Luck and Brian Berard alongside here with you. Of course, John didn't really want to say our names.
I mean, listen, if things start going sideways, do you really want to know who said the things that went sideways?
Oh, absolutely.
Final kneel down by Nolan DeAndre. That'll seal up a 19-12 victory for the BR Trojans, who improved to 2-0 on the season. And Brian, we're going to look back at this game and see that Anthony Morrison had a day, see that Jason Hall had a day, but it's Morrison and the Trojans coming out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Anthony Morrison, once they started using more and more of those pitch plays, I mean, Trojans were just completely unstoppable. And again, a huge shout out to this defense here. In the second half, they held Durfee scoreless. Durfee only had 2 drives, John, in that second half. Both were turnover on downs. Bridgewater-Raynham had 3 drives, 2 touchdowns, 1. Of course, they kneel down to end the game. But you can't say enough about this defensive effort here from the Trojans here today.
So the BR Trojans improve once again to 2-0. They are on the road next week at New Bedford. They come back home for the home finale against Dartmouth and then end the season April 10th against the Brockton Boxers. See the score on the bottom of your screen, 19-12. Trojans come out on top. For Brian Berard, I'm John Luck. Thanks for watching.